Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Welcome
Good
to
morning.
welcome to our speaker for this roundtable discussions from chatbot to virtual assistant evolution of AI in the customer care. This is our topic. So myself Sabisati, CEO of Techno Exponent, and it's my pleasure to lead today's conversations with such a graceful people and such a talented people. And I I am my pleasures that I can get opportunity to speak on this innovative subject. I will begin with myself and then I will be concisely talk about the today's topic and then proceed to that. I will be talking with each, introducing each speaker, and then next I will invite to each speaker to talk about the topic because you are in this AI fields or business field. So, it's a huge thing that you talk about this particular points and show the rest of the members or show all of the members like who are listening to this through our broadcasting that how this things works because this topic is quite innovative and is going to be a future. So about about myself, so I'm Savi Sachi, CEO of Techno Exponent, and Techno Exponent has near about 400 plus in-house engineers, and we develop all kind of custom and AI solutions. Um, and myself, I'm doing my PhD on generative AI on SSBM Geneva. And today's topic is my topic is actually my research paper is on sentiment analysis on NLP. Come to the today's topic, like the chatbot to the virtual assistant evolution of AI into the customer care. So about the topic is very pretty straightforward. Right now, most of the cases we found um, like every places in the world, like people are not looking after to have like a 24/7 people, rather than they all are looking after like a bot. So most of the website, most of the even we book appointments, every places we are seeing right now bot rather than human. And so it's really good, the cost efficient, and of course like 24/7 you cannot keep a person's, but it's very hard, expensive. Now right now bot doing almost everything from your ends. So so that's kind of a things we are finding all over the places. Basically, like a lot of voice bot, like Google Conversational AI, Microsoft Copilot, Bot Press, and of course, like a custom bots also. A lot of companies are building, which actually helping to the customers, or which actually helping to the businesses to align with and give their customers support very nice way. It's not like you need to wait like a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. kind of. Anytime you can reach out to the business and business will give you the service. I will be directly, reaching out to our speakers and I will be introducing them one by one. So very quickly, who are speakers, so all of us know about it. So we have uh, Piyush Rai, who is the CEO and co-founder of Web AI. We have Maya Brenners, if I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly, CEO and co-founder of Filipando AI. We have Obi Ibuka David, who is a founder and CEO of Autogun AI. We have Gilbert, who is the founder of the Intelligent AI. He's also the author of a book, Unlocking the Secret of Prompt Engineering. Very nice topic about it. Prompt engineering part we also can speak over here. Then we have Onu Shukla, uh, co-founder and executive chairman of Botco AI. We have Alok Agarwal. He is a CEO and chief data scientist of Stry AI. We have Kika Lebeka, who is the AI professional. We have Chetan Dev, who is the general manager and head of India in AI search. We have Blinks, John Binks, who is like a senior director and business development in federal and civilian sector in Titan Technologies, mostly AI, artificial intelligence. We have Olga, he's a founder and CEO of Lepis AI Consultant. We have Gareth Works, is the managing director at Many Purple Hats Limited. We have Jerry Gupta, he is a head of AI product in insurance at Armilla AI. We have Keith R. He's the innovative CTOs and CIOs and AI leader. We have Michael Collins. He's a global CTO of Techno Exponent. We have Raja Banerjee. He's an engineering manager of Techno Exponent. So that's all about the persons who present here. If I missed anyone's name, feel free to introduce yourself because that's the list I got from my team. So is there anyone names I miss? Thank you. You know. So let's start directly into the topics. I will go first to Piyush Rai. So if you talk about Piyush, if you like to talk about that, because you are a founder of AI-based company. So if you talk about what is your thought process about this particular topic and how you want to guide this industry.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, and nice to meet everyone. Yeah, this is obviously, front and center of everyone's mind these days, right? AI, generative AI. So I won't go into the, what all is happening. I think most of us are aware of all the good things and the promises that the new sort of wave of AI is bringing to us. I think as far as customer support is concerned, right, customer support as a domain has been using AI for a while, right? This is not new. Over the last 10 years, we've tried to build chatbots. There are other customer 360-degree sentiment analysis type use cases that people have been able to develop. I think the key difference now than before is that we now have access to these language models, large language models, right?
Yeah.
And that helps us change the interface of communication with the technology, to natural language, and that was a limitation earlier. As we know, NLP models and the older dialogue flow architecture that was being used for conversational, products and frameworks had its limits, right? It was, and we know it was sort of more rigid and we know that language is more fluid. So I think if you take the perspective of an end user, I think end users will get a better experience with these technologies just because the natural language understanding has become much more advanced, as we know, right? So that's one aspect of it. But that's just the surface of it, right? What needs to also happen, and I think people are putting efforts into that, is behind once you have the natural language interface,
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes, you need to have the right systems and integrations in place to get the right answer, because the language translation can only do the translation, it cannot get you the answer. So that's the second piece, which is can we then now connect to different systems, get the right information, and I think that's another area which is now coming forth.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in that you could have a more rigid orchestration, or you can have a slightly more dynamic orchestration, which brings me to the third point, which is now we have the ability to build these agents, right?
Yes.
Which can orchestrate the flow of what the user is trying to do, in a more natural way, as opposed to a rigid, hard-coded workflow. So these are, I think, three main components. The integrations to different systems, I think those were always available via APIs and so on, and I think it's become easier to connect to them. So I think with these three things, it's now possible to build these applications. It's not easy to get them right? That's, we see a lot of demos of these agents, and demos are easy to build. But, there are various aspects that one has to consider, which is when I'm asking as a user, when I'm conversing with the business or with the agent provider, it's very easy to get a incorrect or wrong answer from them. And so a lot of the guardrails and the quality of the output and accuracy has to be considered. So I think these are the few aspects that one has to look at. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself before I started. I'm the founder and CEO of Weave.ai, and we build enterprise copilots for large enterprises to help them build applications and workflows using generative AI.
Thanks, thanks for your Piyush, thanks for your, valuable thoughts. I understand it's completely what you are saying. That's the train, and that's way the AI is moving on. I go to Maya Brenner. So I feel like I have a specific questions to you. Like, can you discuss like a specific instance where you think like a virtual assistant significantly improved the customer experience? Any specific instance you want to talk about? Like most of the people want to know about this particular things.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you very much for the invitation. It's Maya here. I'm currently in Uruguay, if you were wondering, pretty far away probably for most of you. So with respect to customer experience applications of AI, as we all have been talking about, chatbots have been like the first use case that everyone asked for. And they were like, okay, I'm handling a lot of inquiries, questions, and answers from my customers, users. How can I improve this experience? And that with a traditional chatbot with a rigid flow has already been automated, or at least improving in the experience. Where we are focusing right now, and where I think generative AI and the agents in particular are providing a lot of additional improvement in the efficiency or on the experience of customers, it's when we need to handle a lot of documentation or filling forms or doing some kind of different actions. Like questioning and answering was something that we had already been able to give an instant 24/7 a great experience. Currently, with the agents, we are able to handle those inquiries or handle those claims in a way in which we not only answer and assist, but we execute the action that we need. In particular, we are, for instance, using this for customer experience with drivers from Cabify Uber, for instance, that they may have a problem with the police, or a claim that they have with an issue with their cars, and they were then used to asking for, what do I have to do in this case? It's not only about asking and getting a response of what you should be doing, but it's help me solve this issue. So we need to file a claim, we need to contact the lawyer, we need to inform the user and do the action for them, that many times takes a lot of time. So I think the in executing actions that at the end of the day solve a real problem, in this case handling a full process of a claim, for example.
It's a great example and topic you said, but there is also one points come up like what is the kind of a difference, or what kind of major challenges we face like a traditional chatbot system to advanced AI driven virtual assistant? And for this particular questions, I like to go to Mr. Obi. If Obi, if you want to talk about like what exact major challenges you feel like the business are facing, like traditional chatbot when it driven to the advanced AI based system. So do you feel like is there any challenges is there?
Okay, yes. So my name is Obi Ebuka David, and I lead the team at Autogon AI. So we've seen businesses have a couple of interesting challenges because so over the time, chatbots is now beginning to do from simple to complex tasks, and because it's beginning to do simple to complex tasks, there's some interesting complex tasks that requires so much more flexibility. Gone are the days you can just use Dialogflow or some other existing technology that pre-existed back then. But nowadays, you are beginning to see a virtual assistant that evolves towards becoming more powerful, having more knowledge sources, having predictive capabilities, taking requests and running predictive capabilities, then omni-channel, multiple channels and all of that. And that traditional chatbots don't take account of each of these items. So if we decide to trace chatbots from the history of time, from the early 2000s and how it was down to late 2000 up to 2010 when NLP came in, and even the limitation of NLP. And right now, where we are right now, a good thing, what generative AI is doing. And you now see virtual assistant now going to the extent of so a particular person who is trying to make a buyout from a shopping cart, and he can pass an image that has different foodstuff, and the chatbot understands the content of the image and says, "Oh, do you want me to add this to your cart?" Or from the history of that particular purchase of that particular customer, the chatbot is able to predict and say, "Oh, because you chose this, you're going to need to pick this." Or you see some more other cases in the area of even chatbots having multiple knowledge sources about that particular businesses, and also traditional systems fail. Interesting systems that we need to build and that we're currently pushing out today works perfectly well, solving today's problems.
So it's the points are very thanks for the shareable good thoughts. And
Okay.
I want to come to the Jerry quickly because Jerry has has a meeting in 15 minutes. So I had specific questions to Jerry Gupta. So basically, I believe in the mostly on the insurance domain, what or any kind of a domain where a lot of sensitive data to be dealt with. So if we are implementing on those specific domain, the AI bot, so what kind of uh, ethical consideration you think that a company should have taken, mainly the insurance, medical, or those where the sensitive data to be processed and things like that. So what is your thought process on that, mainly on the customer service part?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Sabyasachi. So quick background, I'm the head of AI products and insurance at Armilla. We are a Swiss-backed insurance company that insures AI models, chatbots being one of them. So the way we think about this, Sabyasachi, is so we look at the risk of a model from multiple perspectives, right? Which is what kind of compliance and guardrails the companies has. So the qualitative aspects around compliance and controls for the company. We looked at company factors such as size and industry, and then we look at model-specific things. For example, the use case, right? So if you are building a chatbot, and you mentioned healthcare, if you're building a chatbot that is giving diagnostics to a patient, that's super risky. That's something is not insurable, and a lot of ethical and sort of legal concerns there. And so we can divide the chatbots into three categories, right? Descriptive chatbots, predictive chatbots, prescriptive chatbots. Descriptive chatbots are your typical self-service type chatbots. Hey, I have this issue with my order. What's going on? They are simply querying the database and coming with answers. Fairly low risk from an ethical perspective, from an insurance perspective, from a legal perspective. I think it's fairly low risk. The second piece is the predictive, where we are looking at companies coming to us for insurance who want to create chatbots who are able to proactively ping customers for cross-selling or send notifications and engage cross-channel for promotions and all of those things. I think by and large, we think they're okay as long as there's consent from the customer to receive notifications. And those notifications, so the use cases, you send notifications, those notifications result in a chat. Fairly benign. It is more of a compliance issue than ethics issue. The prescriptive ones, I think, is where the most ethical concerns are. And obviously, even in predictive, the ethical concerns would be around, are you using some kind of data that should not be used, or are you making offers based on race, age, and stuff like that, which, especially when it comes to financial services products, which you shouldn't do. And Alok is in this call. He's an expert in financial services, so he can tell you all about that. And then obviously the prescriptive is where we have the biggest issues, where you're basically giving a diagnosis. So I think when we look at insurability in general, Sabyasachi, it is a mixture of use case, human impact, the complexity of the model, the underlying data that is used, the purpose, which again is human impact. Healthcare diagnostics is a no-go. Retail prescriptions, right? Oh, would you like to buy this gene? It's probably okay.
Yeah.
But anytime it gets to healthcare or financial services products, prescriptive becomes a little bit more difficult. But again, I think the other piece obviously is a lot of our customers are now asking their vendors to carry insurance and all of those things. And so what we're finding is a lot of our customers are leaning towards your Azure bot service and others because they have indemnity. Some of those are insured by us, obviously, whereas the smaller vendors don't carry any insurance. They're not bonded. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest ways for the smaller tech startup to level the playing field is by getting bonded or insured, so the customer has the assurance that if something goes wrong, they can get the money back. So
completely understood. So you are suggesting like a lot of sensitive domains we have to take enough care to building this AI, especially for the customer support. If somewhere we get failures, so it can cost a lot of different things. So following questions I like to ask to Mr. Alok, as you took the name of the Alok. So I want to ask, like, let's say if it fails, let's say if AI fails to provide the proper data, or what the ways AI can fail to give the proper data and how we can mitigate this problem.
And thanks, Sabyasachi, and thanks, Jerry, for the introduction. So I did my PhD in machine learning algorithms, AI in 1984 from Johns Hopkins. And I worked for IBM Research Division for 16 years, 1984 to 2000, when AI was still in the research labs and mainly in universities. We have come a long way, but we haven't come that long a way as, unfortunately, as things are hyped. I just recently wrote a book about 6 months ago. You can get it on Amazon, called The Fourth Industrial Revolution and 100 Years of AI, 1950 to 2050, where in chapter 11, I particularly discuss some of the limitations of these systems, particularly generative AI systems, and how they work and what their issues are. So some of the issues, Sabyasachi asked a question as to where are the chatbots being used most. Maybe surprising, actually, but chatbots are being used most in having girlfriends and boyfriends as chatbots. In fact, there is a full article. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. I think.
Yeah. You can hear you.
Okay. All right. Good. So people are falling in love with chatbots, and in particular, there is a chatbot called Replica, and there are several million users of this chatbot, which acts as a boyfriend or girlfriend. And there are a lot of stories about women falling in love and so on. And I think that probably is the biggest right now, amusing or sad it may be, maybe actually the biggest use of chatbots right now. Because there, even if you go wrong, the person is so much in love or so much in awe that the person often forgets that the chatbot is hallucinating, because the ultimate models are hallucinating and making mistakes. And it's not easy to fix mistakes. By the way, we do not know how to fix these mistakes. And that's why in chapter 11, I talk a lot about the hype. I mean, these things, some of these we will understand. Unfortunately, fixing the mistakes we will not easily understand by and large. If the mistake is simple, that somebody says the capital of India is Dhaka, I mean, you can add an internet to it and do a Google search or an internet search on it, and you can fix those mistakes. But many mistakes are so wrong, and it's not easy to fix those, that you won't be able to figure it out. And there are simple mistakes it would make, which people often do not realize. So I'll give you one example of an LLM chatbot which made a mistake, but because its English is so good, it's so fluent in English, it's so coherent, that even it can fool lawyers and people like us that it is right. So in April 2023, there was a lawsuit going on in New York City The two lawyers for one of the parties, Doluca and Schwartz, these two lawyers asked ChatGPT to produce 6 cases from the past so that they can prove to the judge that their client is right. And it fabricated all these 6 cases, but it wrote such perfect legalese that these guys were completely convinced that these were real 6 cases. They gave it to the judge, who gave it to the other attorney, and the attorney could not find those cases. The judge could not find those cases, send it back to DeLuca and Schwartz, and DeLuca and Schwartz could not find it and were fined $5,000. So the reason I'm bringing this out is it's very easy to say that we can fix hallucinations. It goes back to what Jerry was saying, that because the issue about how deep learning networks actually work, it's not regression analysis, it's not arithmetic models. And therefore, it becomes very, very, very hard to fix them. And we have no clue how to fix machine hallucinations. The hallucinations sometimes become so bad. And it's only 10%, don't get me wrong. It's not that 90% of the time ChatGPT works right. So we asked one of the chatbots or LLMs, which of the 4 animals is a mammal. And the first time it gave the right answer, and the second time for the same question, it gave the wrong answer. And those things are, some of them again are easy to fix because this was a multiple choice question. You can actually do a search and figure it out. Otherwise, you can't. And going back to the question that Sabyasachi asked Jerry, as to which areas are particularly prone to having mistakes, he, I think, laid out very nicely in descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive manner. But areas that actually relate directly to humans are the ones which I would be concerned about quite a bit, because if the chatbot is related to giving customer service for resumes, for example, it could easily be biased and we would not know, or it could easily be hallucinating and we would not know, and you would hurt a particular group or a particular person in the whole process. So we have a long way to go. I mean, from limitations perspective as to how do you fix these hallucinations, especially when they write so well, which is incredible how well they write. I mean, which we call machine endearment. They write really as if they were your guru or your teacher. The other problem, I think, was raised by Piyush, that chatbots or LLMs, the underlying engine, these work well. They've been trained well on textual data. So everything needs to be converted. So they don't work well, for example, on tabular data. They don't work well on bar charts, on pie charts, on flow charts, and so on. So everything needs to be converted into a textual data, literally from all those areas. And that's one of the things that people are working on. We have a full product called Colatio, which does exactly that, which basically converts all such kinds of data, whether it's Excel spreadsheets or tables and so on, into a textual format automatically, which can be fed into LLMs. Many of these things will be figured out. What we are seeing are early adopters of chatbots right now in various industries. I think then we'll go through a lull, as we usually do in these hype cycles, and then things will begin to take off. That's my own view.
That's very nice thought you have given. In that scenarios, follow-up questions comes, and I would like to go to Miss Olga on that particular point, because she has she's an AI consultant. So to you, Miss Olga, just I wanted to know, like, what you are seeing in next 5 years, how the AI customer support or customer care evolving with how the customer support will be evolving with AI in next 5 years.
Hi, so I'm Olga. I run Lapis AI Consults. We are a full-service AI consultancy, so we help customers ideate AI solutions, and then we build them. So to answer your question, nobody knows. I don't even think Sam Altman knows, right? Because if we look at the capabilities of a large language model just 1 year ago, just one, it's like a dinosaur. And nobody could have ever predicted where we are now. It's incredible. People were just completely surprised by how far we've come. And that's only 1 year. in 2 months, you can have OpenAI make some announcement that now it's even closer to AGI. So in 5 years, it's very possible that we can have AGI. So it'll be taken care of. The customer issues will be taken care of. I think customer issues can be taken care of even sooner than that. Locke spoke quite a bit about hallucinations, and that's absolutely an issue. But people are forgiving when you say, hi, this model, it can make mistakes. Hi, I'm just learning. I can make mistakes. Please verify important information. And that is when people become much more open to AI error than to human error. Simple ways it can help is, just guiding a customer through product description. What is this product? What does it do? A customer has all these different questions. Maybe they can't find the product on the website. You go to an e-commerce website, there's millions of products. You don't know what you're looking for. Filters aren't working as well as you want them to. You ask the AI and it can understand you and it'll find that product for you. So there's many things you can do right now. And if you just let the customer know, being transparent, right? This is what you need to do everywhere with your customer. But you're just transparent and you say, please verify important information. And then the customer will be able to trust you.
That's important talk about, you say, because there is no limit what's going to be in the next 10 years, but next 5 years. So I was actually like to drive our discussion in two modes. One is like a chat, another is like a voice. So right now, I feel a lot of time when we call to any doctor appointments or any restaurant booking appointments. So we can also call to directly over phone, not in the chat, and which connect to the service, the bot service of that particular restaurant, and it can see the slots which is available, and then that directly book. Even for some of the cases we don't know that we are talking with a bot. Recently, I found a nice video by Tesla release. So they are giving the customer service over the phone, and as a if someone would not tell like it's a bot, so we could not understand that bot is expressing all the things. So for this part, I like to go out the global CTO, Michael Collins. He's a vast experience on the technology. So Michael, how you are seeing currently that AI, or how the customer support we can make much more better than AI, mainly on the voice part.
Yeah, appreciate that. So just going back to your question, so there's a couple of ways to kind of think about it. So on the chatbot flow, it's obviously very useful and people love it across a number of domains, whether that's, retail, appointment setting, lead generation for things on a website, that type of stuff. And it's useful for, if you look at it across like different demographics or age demographics, right? There are certain preferences for these type of bots per age, and you have to think about all those things when you're kind of developing which one to use. So there may be preferences across age or different demographic groups around which how they want to interact, how they feel comfortable. And when you look at it from a business perspective, that starts to make choices around whether you should use voice or a chat bot, right? Because your core customer base may have a preference for something other than a chat bot, and that may be voice. And so on the voice side of things, a lot of times it's a bit more complex, I feel, than the pure text side of it, and the experience is not always great, right? And so there's a lot of things you got to integrate in order to really kind of drive a really good experience. It's improving, I feel, but it's still, in my view, it's still a little bit of ways from, there's still a gap between voice and text. But on the experience side, I think really what you want to think about is, from a business perspective, who's your customer base? What channel would be preferred for them? And then think about priority areas that you can deliver on voice, and then kind of deliver those and then hand it off to a human when it becomes a little more complex. And so that's how I would think of it from on the voice. So to summarize it, on the voice side, I really think it's more of a tiered approach where you might prioritize certain kind of easy to answer questions or questions that are very common, that don't require a lot of complexity to answer, and you would tier those to that human, to that non-human or that voice bot. And then as it gets more complex, you can then kind of hand it off to a human to handle those questions. And you think about that because you want to deliver still a good experience, right? And so ultimately, a lot of companies are going to be driving toward chatbots or voice kind of AI tools, but you really want to ultimately think about the experience and which will deliver the best kind of outcome for your customer base.
Yeah, so actually in the similar thing, I was also thinking like, well, while doing the voice bot, there is definite need of a support of LLM model. It might be a OpenAI or whatever. So, or any kind of a open source LLM model also can work, but because background support must need to have the LLM model. So I also check a little bit of one of the speaker, Gilbert. So his profile, so he has a good experience and author on the chat GPT and stuff. So Gil, if you want to talk about like your journey on AI, on how you are seeing that maybe the GPT, OpenAI, or any kind of other open source model really help in the customer support and automate the process of the customer support.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, my name is Ibrahim Frahi. I am the founder of Intelligent AI. Recently, I was a co-founder of Tunnel. That's a conversational automation tool that allows to automate the process of the extended supply chain. And then I was working as the head of R&D, basically implementing a generative AI for those kind of things to improve the work on the processes of the people that are on the road, and their only tool that they have is the phone. One thing that I see is that the LLMs are getting more powerful. For instance, talking about the OpenAI, ChatGPT, now they have the assistant. And as you see, you can make a RAG with those assistants without the need to know how to chunk the data, how to vectorize it, and do all those things. However, and this week in particular, they increased the capabilities of the system, because until last week, it was a black box. So basically, you could set up an assistant and train the system with upload 20 documents, and it can answer questions about those 20 documents, which was very nice, but not very good in practical terms, because 20 documents is not too much for a large company that wants to build a service, around that, the customer service around that. Now they increased that to 10,000 documents, which is huge. And now they allow you to control a little bit. They tell you how they are chunking the things. I mean, they use 800 tokens per chunk with 50% of overlap, which is very strange. I never saw somebody overlapping 50% of the chunks when they were going to vectorize data. And they say that eventually they will allow users to customize those things. However, that's good for small companies because it's very simple to implement, but it can be very expensive because it doesn't have any mechanism to decide, okay, how I do cache cost, common questions and things like that, how I manage the personalization to take care of the long-term memory for this particular user. Of course, they have some mechanisms to do that, but it's not straightforward. So
You're mute, actually.
sorry. The other thing is, right now, the LLMs, they have multimodal capabilities, but if we are going to upload documents, let's say PDF documents that have, as someone say, tables, I think Michael mentioned that. Yeah, tables is difficult to parse, and depending on the format of the document, it's difficult to understand. The other point is many documents that we need to answer the questions probably have schematics and graphics that are key to provide good answers. And the systems, even though we have capabilities to analyze images independently, right now it's very hard to take PDFs that are rich with data in different formats and images and explore or explain those images when somebody is asking questions about those documents. So I think there is some way to go in that area as well.
Absolutely.
Gilbert,
Yeah.
that's why where I
Yeah,
was
go
saying
ahead.
about Colatio, sorry,
No, no,
Sabyasachi.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Alok. Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of work going on, and in particular, we are bringing out, in fact, the whole product set, which people can test on June 3rd. Colatio, which will take PDF documents, scanned documents, Excel spreadsheets, tables, flow charts, as you said, and various other schematics, convert it into textual format, which LLMs can use. Because we think that that's one of the biggest concerns or one of the biggest limitations currently LLMs have, because they only understand text. So using this as a preliminary or the first product to convert, I think is going to be, will be, in my view, a much more important aspect than perhaps OpenAI coming with the next the GPT-4. That's my own, or GPT-5. That's my own view.
Yeah, no, I agree. This thing will evolve quickly. And as Olga said, we don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. I mean, I was in the MIT innovation ideas last week and also last year. And last year they say, well, we don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. They didn't know what's going to happen from last year to now. And the advance has been enormous. And the things that they were talking there were amazing. I mean, other thing that I think is relevant to customer service is the lag between when people ask something and the response, even though the systems are faster than a year ago, depending of what LLM they are using, it can be a few seconds, and that lag makes the feeling of using these tools a little bit fake, if you want. But now we see things like Grok AI that is responding practically in real time is amazing. So I think many things are converging to be able to do much better. But the complexity as well is increasing. So for small companies, it can be challenging to implement something good. I mean, they can implement something, but compared to what a large company can afford, we will have some differences there.
Yeah, I think Sabyasachi, I think it's back to you.
That's LinkedIn and it's impressive. So if you like to talk about like how you are thinking like this chatbot can help to the society, and also specific questions I like to ask, because many times the OpenAI we make our LLM to support, but it's always the costly, which previously also we found in this discussion. And I like to want to ask these questions to you first, and then I will go to other persons as well. Like instead of having OpenAI, which is sometimes cost effective, because API cost of GPT-4 is OpenAI 4 is very cost effective. I mean, very costly. So is
You're mute.
okay. So I come back to you again, Anu Shukla. So I was asking about like how you feel like this chatbot is really helping to this customer services. And number two is that most of the cases OpenAI is backed. Like OpenAI is actually helping the LLM model. So instead of OpenAI, if there is other open source LLM model we use, and can it be effective, and can we improve that particular thing instead of using a like OpenAI a costly services? What is your thought on that, or how you want to see this particular perspective?
Yeah, so I'm Anu. I'm the executive chairman and co-founder of Barcode.ai. We've been doing AI enterprise chatbots since 2018, before the LLMs came along. And I just wanted to point out that when ChatGPT was launched, etc., it was like a rising tide that lifted all boats, because customers became very interested in applying chatbots, and they definitely saw a need. There was much more acceptance, curiosity, experimental projects. So I actually thank the fact that ChatGPT came along. So far, ChatGPT expense has been controlled in our situation because we are doing something called like a hybrid model. We developed our own fine-tuned models, right? So we use ChatGPT for a variety of things. We're not trying to replace these foundational models, whether it's Llama, which is open source,
Yes.
Gemini, or Anthropic, Claude. We try all of them. And really we focused on developing internal tools that allow us to test prompts, in various LLMs to see which one is giving better and more predictable results. And also our value add is in adding the guardrails to stop hallucinations. And as far as customer specific data is concerned, since we focused on certain verticals in healthcare, like behavioral health, autism, senior living, very specific verticals, we were able, after having millions of conversations for our client, to actually build fine-tuned models ourselves. So the architecture of our product, we focus on, this is how we keep ChatGPT and costs under control, hallucinations, privacy, privacy and security, safeguards for our enterprise customers, is that we have sort of a decisioning tree within the product that says, do I have an answer for this already? It's kind of like the old dialogue or scripted model. Do I have because there's no room for making up stuff when you are dealing with some healthcare issues and some healthcare facts. Like I want something from my patient chart, for example. So that has to be handled in a very specific HIPAA compliant manner. Then the second is, we could use ChatGPT for a chatbot to say, tell me the types of questions that can come up about behavioral health therapy. So something broad like that. So it'll give us hundreds of questions. So we can make sure we have answers to those hundreds of questions. The second is we would use our fine-tuned model. So we have ingested data, and created, from these millions of conversations, shared skills and fine-tuned models, which are telling us specifically about that data that's very particular, and that is kept separate. And then the third is a catch-all. So that's how we keep costs down and accuracy up by using this hybrid approach.
That's a nice thought. It's very nice that this kind of things you already been implemented. In this particular topic, I want to go right now, Mr. John. So John Binks already he's a senior director in that Titan Technologies. He is working, and he also has the lot of AI vision. So John, I just wanted to ask you, like, what is a very I would not say typical questions, but I want to know your thought about it. That what future technology do you foresee to integrate with AI with this enhancing the virtual assistant? So do you foresee any future technology in a research mode or something which can be integrated with this AI for enhancing the virtual assistant or customer support or customer service in next level?
What is that
John,
question for? Excuse me?
so yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so John, for you, the question is like, how do you oversee like this, what kind of future technologies can be integrated with this AI to enhancing the virtual assistant or customer service? Right now, we are mostly depending on LLMs, talking to the customers, give them nominal support, talking them, okay, this is a AI, bot. If you should not rely on the very, important information. You should double check those kind of things. So there are a lot of similar kind of drawbacks we are also finding in those kind of bot. So what do you think that what could be integrated in the future to this kind of assistant to make it better or maybe enhance the customer service? Sorry,
I don't hear anything.
Sorry, you can't hear?
Whoever you asked the question to, I
Oh,
didn't
John,
hear
I
that.
asked to the John actually. So, yeah. Okay, I don't know if John is present, but okay, Keith, I want to go to. I was going to you the next. So if you you want to answer this particular questions.
So the things we're going to see further on is around automation. And the automation will include not only the chatbots bots and assistants, in real time giving feedback to the customer service folks, including things like facial recognitions in the case of video chat with customers, but also automation that it will actually do things by virtue of decisions being made real time in those discussions between the customer service folks and the customer. Such as redoing an order or changing a size of something that was ordered, things like that, so that the customer service rep won't have to do an extra step after the call.
Okay, so but my questions is like that, and I believe like most of the AI engineers or business owners are, most of the business owners are want to make sure like how we can prevent the not of the hallucination I will talk about, but the putting up a wrong information. Most of the some of the time we find that AI putting a wrong information or it's not giving a correct information kind of thing. So what your thought process that how in the future something can be integrated which can be prevent these particular things and going customer service into the next level?
Yeah, it becomes a variation on crowdsourcing because it only knows truth by virtue of the preponderance of the facts that it has. And we humans, unfortunately, distort facts sometimes, right? Particularly if you get to, in a political arena, for example, happens all the time. But even objective facts, for first of all, like reviews of a product can also be distorted. So I think in order for the AI model to have more quality responses, particularly in generative AI, it needs to have, how to say, significant human checkpoints. In other words, new information came in that's not consistent with previous information. Who's going to discern whether that new information is really correct, or is it there to distort the previous information?
Understood.
I don't know the answer to that yet.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a proper thoughts on that. So I will go to the Raja, and after that I will go to Chintan on few questions. So Raja, to you, like how you feel like a lot of things coming up, Microsoft Copilot or similar kind of things, and how you feel like this kind of enterprise solution is improving the AI customer supports.
Yes, absolutely. As far as the Microsoft Copilot or the products like BotPress, these things are coming up. So it really helps. It really helps in building the conversational flow and the context and the workflow basically. So say for example, your bot is trying to get into a decision tree. And if you want to implement a particular decision tree, then you need to control the flow of the conversation depending on the answers given by the client. So if the client says yes, then okay, take this path. If the client says no, then take this path and stuff like that. And depending on the answers that the client is given, the bot is changing its course. So that conversational flow, that workflow creation has become very easy if you use tools like Copilot or BotPress, whoever is allowing you to create that particular workflow. So yes, for the bot developers or for the bot designers, these tools, they do help. And one more thing, as far as the customer support and the advancement of customer support and the role of AI in customer support is concerned, I'd like to make one point that still a lot of customer support, real customer support, is done by human interactions. And where AI can help is that, say, for example, in a company, there are 10 customer support or 20 customer support executive, or maybe 30 people who are always talking to their customers, answering their queries and noting down their grievances and all that stuff. So what AI can really do, and we have already worked on a system like that. The name of the product was Gecko, and what it was doing basically that it was continuously listening to that conversation, and it was analyzing that whether, say, for example, a salesperson is making a call to a customer. Now, whether the sales guy is allowing the customer to speak or not, whether the sales guy is continuously interrupting the customer, not allowing him to speak, just trying to pitch his part. And so this is one kind of behavior. And since these are human controlled conversation, so human controlled conversations are also needed to be monitored so that they can be put under some sort of a protocol, and that also will also enhance the customer support. And they're also in monitoring and in training these human beings in a proper way. There also AI systems can take a huge role.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm coming to Chintan because I seen your profile is quite impressive, and I wanted to know like all of the fields, like from designing to developments to deploying as a developers, and then like customer service, all right now can do by the AI. So what is your thought process on specific mode, like how you are seeing not only the customer support executives, also the other who are related to those particular service industries, how they are secure in terms of jobs, or how they need to improve their skill on those specific fields?
So wonderful question, and I really appreciate to give us this opportunity, and a really nice panel that we have it. I'm GM and head of India for the AI certs. What we do is basically we are solving the problem. We are giving the role-based AI and blockchain certifications, right? So now the situation is currently that AI is not only for the tech people, right? There is an every individual role which is going to get impacted with an AI. Now, when you say impacted, we have been quoting a lot that AI will not replace the job, but the person who knows AI will replace the person who does not, right? So this is the right time where we need to empower every available role out there, every individual role, starting from sales, finance, customer experience, project manager, educators, sales, writer, drafting, legal, right? Irrespective of any role we are into, it is going to impact us if you're not knowing how to be a super user of the AI. So it's not becoming the developer specifically, because it's very simple nowadays. Like within few clicks, you can have your own Gen AI solution up and running. And I could say that I've been developing the solutions like almost 20 years. I've written 20 books. I've been developing 80 SaaS products so far. Most of them are a combination of AI and blockchain. So to sum up the entire conversation, and just to give you a brief context, I feel that it is going to impact every role out there, not only the customer service, as you mentioned rightly, and then you would need to, or we would need to become a super user of this product. It's very easy to understand, and we can control the way we want it, honestly. It's there is a huge misconception, I tell you, right? The people were talking about that AI is going to do this and do that. We've been talking a lot. I go to event every day nowadays. Tomorrow I'm going to one event where we have like 5,000 plus people participating, right? The business leaders, right? We have the first certifications called AI plus executive, right? So we call it, we are just empowering the business leader first so they understand that how it is going to help us rather than it is going to take away the things that we do right now. So this conversation can go beyond and far, but for sure, we need to empower the user in a simplest way possible, honestly, right? So if we are able to empower everyone, I think sky is the limit. Technology is just, I would say, 20% of the everything that we're talking about. The 80% is the problem that we want to solve, and then what is the priority of the problem that we want to solve, and how it is going to impact the overall the processes that we have it. 110% it is going to change the way we are working right now, for sure. those who are like in the dreams that this is like a big wow thing and it will fade away in few years. That's not going to be the same. I mean, and you were asking one of the questions, Sabyasachi, regarding the 5 years. I would say 5 years is very, very, very long. You say things are going to change in months, right?
Exactly.
And it was wonderful panel. Again, thank you so much for bringing me in.
Thank you so much. We have a short of time, so we couldn't take that questions of audience, but it's nice. Like, just to be conclusion note from mind, if anyone want to add. So mine simple, I wanted to make like the voice and the chat both are continuously growing. And I'm sure like most of the persons, as Chintan said, that's very true. Like the persons going to be getting replaced who are not actually having the knowledge of AI or who doesn't know how to utilize the AI and complete it. So it's not only the the customer support, all places we have to implement the AI and we have to get the benefit from AI. That's my note. And if you want to add something, anyone. Okay, that's everything. Collins, you want to add something?
No, well said. Yeah, well said. I think it's across the board on it, whether it's chat bots or voice bots or whatever the flow is going to be. Everyone needs to be able to use it, and I think being able to integrate it not only with LLMs, but integrating it with your own custom data to kind of feed kind of really smart responses is going to be critical, because LLMs can really give you that baseline conversational flow, but you still need to integrate it with kind of your custom data. So being a, prompt engineering, in addition to other kind of flows, are going to be super important to kind of have that kind of real response that kind of handles your actual data that can give a good customer experience around that. And so as you kind of think about exploring just generally tools, you want to make sure you leverage as many resources as you can out there in the market to understand what's the best case that you can do for your specific customer set. And that can be a number of kind of tools out there. So that's what I would say. So always feel free to leverage us as on the AI side, free consultations, to kind of get a sense of things as well, the kind of other teams out there and other kind of resources out there to kind of make sure you're moving in the right direction.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your support and thanks for joining. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.